you only can cancel if you're dead. Only the own death is an excuse for canceling. And
I am so delighted today to welcome a dear friend of mine. And this dear friend is also my soul sister. She is an amazing artist, a singer, MC, show director, artistic director, producer. And not only is she an amazing artist, but she's also an amazing cook. And she's also a big lover of arts and history. And she specializes in sultry burlesque. And also she's also specialized, and she always look to really give the best show from the roaring 20s. So I want to welcome my dear friend, my soul sister, Evi.
thank you, Sofranie. What a nice introduction.
Of course.
All about me.
Yes.
Thank you.
How are you today?
I'm very fine. I'm with you here in the studio and I'm super excited.
Yeah, me too. I'm so absolutely grateful to have you here. It's really, and especially you come from Germany. So
Yes.
you're here to visit me.
Yes. My pleasure.
Yes. All right. So let's jump into it. So the first thing I would like to ask if you, so that people really know you a bit better. So
Yeah.
tell us about your past. What brought you to become an artist?
Actually, I think if you are an artist, you are an artist, and people from outside realize it before you. It's like my grandmother always told me, "Oh, you always used to sing," and my grandfather told me the story that I was on his shoulders, and we were in a shop, and then I saw a mobile of birds, and then I was singing the song of the birds, and then the woman of the shop, she started to cry. So this was my first performance. I don't remember, but my grandparents told me the story, and so I'm a singer and I'm an artist, and so there was never a point where I said, okay, I want to be an artist, but like I realized I have to follow that way. So this was more like this. There was no initiation point.
Okay. But what is very interesting is how you grew up. And I would like people to know, because this is so interesting, because it's so particular and, it's very specific of you. So, Can you tell us about your father?
About my family. Like my mom's coming from a family in Wiesbaden, Germany, and they were wealthy family from Wiesbaden, and they had a shop. So and especially the women in the shop, they were leading everything, the family, and my father. So they come from Eastern Europe, and they came to Germany then later. And my father, he was always an animal lover, and it was in the animal business, and so I grew up among like pumas and wolves and penguins and all kind of animals, and so I have a really deep connection and love for animals, and they always played a role in my life. So I couldn't live without animals.
Yeah, because today you have a tekel.
Yeah, I have a Dachshund, Fritzl.
All right. So I just found always that it's so amazing, because you were amongst exotic animals.
Yeah.
So do you think it has somehow an influence on you?
I mean, animals are souls that we are connected with on another level than with humans. And I must say, as a child, I was very solitude. I was very adult. I was very serious. I was not like a laughing child playing around. I had two siblings, an older brother and a younger sister. And with my sister, I always had a very close connection. With my brother, not so much. but it changed now since we're adults, so it changes over the time. But yeah, I was more on my own and with the animals, and yeah, so I had very different influences. Like my father came from a complete different background, like my mother. So my mother, she was always into classical music. She also wanted to study double bass,
Okay.
which was then not possible at that time because she was playing the double bass, and she was a very tiny woman, more tiny than me even, and she was playing the double bass. She was famous in whole Wiesbaden for that, and she also had the biggest record collection at that time in the 50s in Wiesbaden, and so and she was only listening to classical music, and so I grew up with this music, and my influence was then the classical thing and also the record collection of her brother. So but he was listening to jazz and rock and roll, so I had all these kind of music influences. And yeah, from my father came that thing with the animals and the East European background. So it's yeah, I had quite a very big polarity already when I grew up, and we grew up in the house of my grandparents. So actually, my closest person was my grandmother, and so also from her comes the cooking.
Yeah,
and,
the cooking.
Yeah.
The amazing cooking.
Yeah.
Yeah, because if you could be really a cook also. You could have your own restaurant because everything I ate at your place was always like a show in itself.
Yeah,
It's
I mean,
amazing for the taste, for the senses.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a kind of art.
Yeah.
The cooking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you studied your opera.
Yes,
Tell me about
I
that.
have a classical opera education. I had a teacher from United States, which was really my. I before had some German teachers, but when she came to it was the Conservatorium of Wiesbaden, and when she came, then I finally found my teacher, because she was not only teaching another technique like the German technique. So she told me the Messa di Voce and bel canto. And actually, I never wanted to be a classical singer, but at that time, there was only education in classical singing. So it just started that you could also do popular music. But actually, it really started. So there were no really teachers for this. But my teacher was like giving me, with the techniques she told me, I would never get into what she could sing. I mean, I always admired her voice so much, but I swallowed all the techniques she told me, and I can now really use it, just opening my voice and sound like I want, because I have the tools. And she was really my game changer in the whole thing, like for singing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she also was not only a singing teacher, but also like a coach for how you prepare internally for going on stage, because she was the first teacher I had who was also a successful opera singer on stage and not only a teacher. So she could give me what you need to go on stage.
Okay.
And that's something on top of only be able to have a good voice and sing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so when did you meet Loy? Like, because Loy,
Mr. Loy.
Mr. Loy, if people don't know, it's her alter ego on stage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's my husband. He's my stage partner. He's my business partner. And I met him in, actually, we met before we knew each other. We saw each other on stage. And he saw me already 2 years before on stage.
Okay.
And he was among a group of students who admired our show. I was with another stage partner in a show about the 20s with Cole Porter songs, and it was only text of Dorothy Parker, who was famous author from the 20s of New York, and very sarcastic, very feminist, sarcastic, and far in advance, avant-garde writer at that time. And so it was a play only with her texts. And so he saw me there.
Okay.
And then I saw him on stage, and he was like a volcano, like playing boogie woogie and blues, and like the sweat popping out of his head, and like I was like, whoa, wow, a hurricane. And then later I met him in the yard of the theater. It was a tiny cabaret theater in Germany. And then my sister introduced me to him, and I said, yeah, but can you introduce me to the guy who was on stage? Because this is another guy. I didn't recognize him because he was so different. He was very reduced and shy. And but no, it was him. And so he had really, like, when he goes to a stage persona, he completely switch, like he becomes the animal, because this is his name, Mr. Loy, the animal, Das Tier, the beast, and so that's how we met. Yeah, and so we came together from. I came from the classical background, but I had my roots also already in jazz and rock and roll, and this was always the music I loved. But I was educated in classical, and he was like completely learning by himself, like
autodidact.
Autodidact, and comes from just pure emotion and pure talent. I must say, really pure talent. He's a huge talent in singing and playing the piano, and and also to open this source to the stage energy, which is that magical source that we only can switch on when we are on stage. So it was very strong in him. I could feel it the first time I saw him on stage.
So was it love at first sight?
No.
No?
Just on a certain level, but not in that sense that we would be a couple one day. So no, it was really it was more an artistic attraction, and like musical wise, and like we were very attracted, but not on that level, because we were friends for like 3 years.
Oh, wow.
Before it came out that.
Okay.
And then when we did our first show, so we decided, okay, let's do a show together. This was the first time we created a show, and it was called Heartbreakers Night. And so we created the show. It was like a cabaret music show, and it was actually supposed to be like a serious two singers, and he plays the piano, and we do a serious music show. And then it became out like a very, very trashy and a super funny music show, because we could not help to make always jokes about ourselves, and so it was a very funny show. And this was the first thing we did together, and we had premiere in March 2nd, and then March 17th. So we became a couple then, so 2 weeks after. So but first the work and then the pleasure.
And we met in 2003. So this was
in Berlin.
Yeah, in Berlin. So you were already like playing together as a duo at that time.
Yeah.
So you had like Evi Niessner.
Yes.
Yeah. And so, because if you don't know, Evi and I, we met in a dinner show that's called Pom Duck and Circumstance. It was in Berlin. And because I'm a former circus artist also. And we met there. We kind of fell in love.
And this was very quick. We saw you actually auditioning before we were auditioning.
You were there.
Yes, we saw you.
You saw. When I was in the air and HPV said, how much do you want?
We saw you in the air, but weren't you also singing and doing some taekwondo?
Oh my God! Yeah. It's been a long time.
So Loy and me, we were there, and who's she? Because we were actually never auditioning before. Never.
Okay.
It was actually our one and only audition that we did.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, and it was very interesting. So we came a bit in advance and we saw you auditioning.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, right. Huh. I didn't know.
Yeah.
No. It's interesting. Okay. And then, yeah. And then in the show, I mean, it was an amazing adventure, let's say.
It was, yeah. Like, I don't know if people know here these kind of dinner shows. Like, you are, like, I think we were 40 artists, not only on stage, but it was like kind of a play. But we were all playing like a stage artist and then a character. We were either cook or servant. We were all serving the duck to the people, and we were interacting with the people. And I was so afraid of that to do close up acting with the people because I was used to be a stage artist, so I'm on stage and there's the audience, and I liked it when it was completely black. I didn't see any face, and then suddenly I was in that situation. I had to have conversation with the people, and they were eating, and then going back to perform in the middle with this was the stage that could elevate.
Yeah.
And it was for me it was a very hard school, like to learn to get over my inner fears of getting close to the audience. This was a very very intense and helpful time.
Yeah, because dinner show what it is, because it doesn't really exist here in Canada or United States as far as, no. It's a minimum 4 hour shows actually. And there's like 4 to 5 courses, and in between courses there's music, live music, there's acting, and there's circus act.
Yeah.
That's it. And then after the show, you have an after show, which you had to do.
Oh, yeah. We had to do a half an hour concert, or as long as people clap and want encores, and they always wanted a lot.
Yeah.
And at that time, it was still allowed to smoke, so it was like...
Yes, it's true.
Yeah.
It was the last place in the world, where people could smoke. Yeah. It's true. And... tell us, was it the first time that you got in contact with circus artists when you were there?
No, we before we did variété shows.
Okay.
So it's a kind of circus artist in a show in a theater. It has a long tradition, and it's also going back to the 20s, like the vaudeville shows. And you have circus artists, and then you have a moderation. It's either magician or musicians, or that is kind of MC. And and before we did these kind of variété shows, and we were the musical MCs for this kind of variété shows. Yeah.
I remember when I arrived in Germany, I was working in a cabaret in
Wintergarten,
Düsseldorf. No, Düsseldorf.
Apollo.
Apollo Variété.
Yeah.
And there was still the number girl. There was the star of the next artist.
Yeah.
And they were in bikini, and
Yeah.
and then would walk on the street like with the name of the star.
It was in the
that's
early
coming after.
90s. We still had that. Yeah.
It was still on.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
I think it was the last cabaret or variété that was still doing that.
Yeah, but it developed a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, it changed a lot since then.
Yeah.
And this was in the early 2000 or
No, early 90s. Early
90s, yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Huh. And then I would like to know, because after Pom Duck, then you came back as you started your show production.
Yeah, so actually it started a bit with burlesque. So we were hired for the first, there's a kind of off scene, off theater or off cabaret scene, and there you had already some influences in Germany of burlesque. But
Okay.
this was the first variété show, like an official variété, who wanted to do a burlesque show, and they hired us as the MCs. So, and actually, when I got to know what is burlesque about, I saw my first burlesque shows in New York in 2005.
Okay.
And I was a bit like, oh, that's burlesque, wow, because it was very trashy and very bold. And but I thought, okay, but the idea is actually what we do since the beginning. So we always, our music style was always something like vintage music, like swing, blues, jazz, rock and roll. Like this kind of and the old songbook, American songbook, and this kind of stuff. And but we make fun out of it, and we were always playing with this erotic image. So we were playing with erotic. So we made some funny things out of it. And burlesque is actually the same idea, but just then it came like really women like undress, but with a twist. It was always with like a comic twist, but it also I realized it's a form of art. It's a kind of stage art. And when we started with this, so first we were hired for a show to be the MCs, but then we said, okay, this is somehow we come home, and this genre burlesque is so much more than just you have a woman that undresses herself. And this was only the start. So this was in 2008. And then after we started to create our own burlesque show with the context that we had from that first show. And so we really found our home in this kind of art. And it was not easy because first the circus artists in the business, they were a bit upset because it was like, what the burlesque dancers are doing, that's nothing. And we have our education and we worked so hard. And they started as children, sometimes coming from being gymnast or acro sports and have really a hard education. And then suddenly somebody comes and only take off the clothes, but then it's a like really an art form, like also travesty. You have to create your costume, you have to create a character, and it really there's also good and bad artists like in every art form, but it was a hard work that we also, I think I can say that for Germany we were also a big part of the burlesque movement to really say, hey, that's an art form, and we were kind of the pioneers in Germany to develop burlesque.
Yeah, and what brought you? What was attractive for you to use burlesque in your show?
I mean, burlesque is also not only what you do on stage, but it's really a philosophy and like a mindset and like a conviction that you have. It's like for me, it's the top of the female empowerment that you like. Before the feminism was a lot of like, okay, we want to have the same rights as men. We want to have in our role in society. Like, I mean, there's still a pay gap in Germany. I don't know how it's here, but there's a pay gap. Yeah, it's for me, when I heard that first, I was never employed somewhere. But when I heard that employees, they have a pay gap just because they're women, I don't see any reason in this.
Yeah.
And but I think the feminism is only then complete when you also can choose to be the subject. And then if you are the subject, then you can also again say, I want to objectify myself, but in a artistic way. So there's really a big difference. This was a question that we often get asked in the beginning of burlesque. So what's the difference of striptease and porno and this kind of stuff compared with burlesque? And burlesque is a choice you make, and you twist it and you play with this. You say, I can even choose to to play an object, but I choose where's the line, and that's my choice. And I want to present myself also sexual because I can and not because I have to. And it was always like women were diminished, like, okay, that's what you have to fulfill this role. And yeah, burlesque goes above this and turns it around and makes it an art.
I just want to take a moment to thank you deep from my heart for being such an incredible part of this journey. If you're enjoying this content I'm sharing, I would greatly appreciate if you could just take a moment to like my page and platforms. Your support helps me to reach more creative minds just like you. And if you're interested in receiving a free coaching with me, just click here. I would be absolutely delighted and thrilled to connect with you and see how I can help you achieve your goal. Thank you for listening, and let's get back to the episode. Okay, but there's some women that are doing porn and it's their choice.
It's also then a choice.
Yeah.
I cannot talk about this, but that's also but it was always like before. So women who didn't have an education or who did or who so like prostitution and porn, it can be also a choice.
Yeah.
But I think mostly in the past or like still now, it's not a choice. And and this can also be a choice, of course. But burlesque is really taking the power to the women.
And also, I mean, it's also acceptance of your body, because there's burlesque dancers that are obese or that are, like
you can
that,
be any kind of woman, and it's just about expressing yourself and about and about loving yourself like you are. And
exactly.
This can have any forms, like also it goes against any kind of discrimination, not only about women but also in society, like age, like body shape, like
can have cellulite and do burlesque,
whatever.
Exactly.
You
That's the
can,
difference, I would say, right?
And it's
a celebration of the body,
the celebration of the body, and of like who you are as a beautiful soul and body, and then it's all one.
And talking about discrimination, because I know that you've suffered from discrimination also. Can you tell us about that?
I mean, it started actually. I always saw I'm not the girly type, which was pleasant to everybody. I was always the enfant terrible of the family. I was the enfant terrible in school, and I was always the outcast. Always, like I was the wild thing, and my friends were always like the pretty girls that but I always felt like okay, but okay, she's the hard one, so she's the trouble. And I kind of suffered in the beginning, but I already could feel that it's a strength. But I had to learn it the hard way, that I don't have to please people, and I was always kind of self-confident, but in the beginning it was more fake it till you make it. And now I'm really that confident. So I was discriminated for being not as girly like, or not as pleasant, like, and I did not have the size that people expected me, and so I had to stay brave with this. And now I'm more confident than ever, because I think it's my choice. And
well, I think you're an absolute beautiful woman, actually. So, but it's true that there's discrimination in arts, and that yeah, if you're too fat, too old, or too skinny, also,
Yeah.
then there's always something to talk about.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And yeah, and people would talk about women who
yeah,
are not perfect. So like in our burlesque show, we had already all different sizes and type of women, and we get some very rude comments from people sometimes who wrote us after,
yeah.
and I don't want to repeat what people said in words literally, but it was really but it shows a lot about the people who write these kind of comments,
Yeah.
like they hate themselves or like they would discriminate their own wives. And so it's actually more like a kind of confirmation to be on the right way, to get this kind of comments, but it's hard sometimes. Yeah.
Yes. You're also thinking about to have a dancer and that has cancer in your show
Yeah,
to
yeah.
really
I mean,
show that
at the moment
you're still a
we
woman.
have
Yeah.
one dancer who has breast cancer,
Yeah.
and I think these are kind of topics we all deal like,
Mm-hmm.
and like getting older.
Yeah.
The body changes, and or the body changes because of this. So
Yeah.
I think maybe she get her completely her breast taken off. Yeah, and we will continue with her, and
Yeah.
she's very bold. She's posting also like picture. She goes to through a chemotherapy at the moment. She has no hair,
Mm-hmm.
and but she on social media she's proudly, and because like this you can also make put the view
It's
on
a
this thing, but
yeah.
because it's reality.
Yeah, it's a
It's
statement, and also that's why what you do. It's yes, it's sexual, but it's still a statement. It's a feminism
you are still a
statement.
woman without a breast.
Yes,
Yeah,
that's it.
yeah.
So that's what's special to you.
And still a complete
Yeah,
woman. Yeah,
yeah,
and burlesque is a very good platform to express all of this, and to not be shy with all the things behind.
yes,
Yeah,
yeah. And what I was always very impressed with you is your intellect. You have a especially strong intellect. You're super intelligent,
thank
and
you.
you love history, and you
Yeah,
were always a big fan of everything that is from 20s,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, this was when I finished my opera education. I graduated with a Kurt Weill
yeah,
a project, so it was already going from opera to the Roaring Twenties, so the 20s, and especially Berlin,
yeah.
and yeah, so I was deeply into that world. Like I was living in the 20s, and when you look at me, like I looked when I was 20. I looked really like a flapper girl, like
Yeah. You're
from
still
these
a bit.
times. Yeah, I have. Sometimes I try to be more modern, but actually, the modern woman was invented in the 20s. So
Yeah.
the modern woman, before the Second World War, we had already the modern woman. So the feminism was so strong in the 20s. So like woman completely changed from being the housewife, or just like a kind of jewelry you put in a shrine, and being beautiful, and doing the house and the children. So really the woman empowerment was the biggest in the 20s. So, and also like diversity, like gender diversity, and all
Yeah.
kinds of combination, what sexual orientation you had, it was like completely free. And I think you cannot even imagine how free that was, and how the arts, I mean, this was what was golden about the 20s, was really the freedom of arts and creativity. And this is what is completely in my DNA, and what I'm not only fascinated, like when I started to be on stage and to be an artist, I was completely, this is my philosophy of how you should do, how you should be as an artist, like bringing that all together and have no drawers where you, I mean, especially in Germany, you have drawers like, oh, this is serious music, this is entertainment, and it's a bit different in America, and I don't know about in Canada, but in Germany it's very divided and very strict. You do this, then you cannot do that. And I always was a pioneer in breaking up all these rules, because in the 20s it was not like this. So very intellectual people like Fritz Grünbaum, he was one of my biggest influence. He invented the cabaret conférence.
Yeah.
Like the intellectual, intelligent cabaret conférence with his partner Karl Farkas and Fritz Grünbaum. They invented the double conférence, so they were like intelligent, entertaining double conférence. And so he was a big influence for me. And and he also wrote the librettos, the text for the Haller Revue, for this like cheap entertaining big shows, and it was no issue. You could do both. Yeah.
And that's why you created
Yeah.
this show.
Yeah, Glanz auf dem Vulkan, or the Glanz of Berlin.
This is your 20s show.
Yeah, this is our 20s show.
Yeah.
With a lot of dancers and musicians, and it's all live. And we have video projections which do the setting and explain also a little bit, because we don't. It's not like a play that we explain a lot about with words, but it's very visual, and we have a circus artist also, and it's mainly about the 3 different characters of women. So we have Claire, die Tollkühne, and we have Isadora, die Dame, like the madam, and we have the flapper girl, Mitzi. So it's 3 very different kind of women characters that stand for a certain character of a woman in the 20s, and it's connected to some real historical, like Claire die Tollkühne is like Claire Norstinnes. She was the first woman who surrounded the world with a car in the 20s.
Okay.
And I think like 80,000 kilometers or something. Like she did with a car. She surrounded the world, and she was a speed racer, like a car racer.
Okay.
And also Claire Waldorf, who was one of the first cabaret stars, a singer, which was very funny. And she was like a lesbian icon in Berlin, Germany. And then Isadora die Dame, it goes back to Isadora Duncan, who was a famous actress and a very elegant woman, and also like to a fictional character from Vicky Baum's People in the Hotel. It's a Roman, and it's like about a ballet dancer who is out of her time, and then the 20s come, and then ballet is not so in fashion anymore, and she slowly gets into the modern version of a modern woman from the classical ballet. And Mitzi, the flapper girl, is like the party girl in the 20s. So this is the flapper girl. You know what it is. It's like going completely free from what it was before in the Kaiserzeit, where the woman had to, just to look
role.
at.
So we will put a link, of course, of where you play and when, so that people can attend your show.
It's the shows of the M&G Show Company. That's our show company.
Yeah.
And this is one of our shows that we produce.
And I have a question, because I know that there's people now, there's women who really their dream is about to build a company, to build a show company. And I know a lot of them, and they feel like they don't know how to do it. Maybe they're stuck. Maybe they they fail and they fail and they don't know how to do it. And why do you think you have this success? What brought you this success, you think?
Yeah, because I don't think about that I want to have the success. I don't think about that I want to be famous. I think about I want to do what I really have to do. It's like I have to do this, and I have to do this as good as possible. And I have some very high inspiration that are so good. Like for many years, I could not write my own music, my own songs, because I was influenced by all these great composers like Kurt Weill and George Gershwin and Duke Ellington and all these and I had so much respect of that. But then, yeah, it came then suddenly when I had an occasion to start to write something. Or a reason, and then I dared to write something in that style, and then more and more I became free from it. And this is the same like running a show company. It was never my plan. I always knew I want to be a singer, I want to be a stage artist, but I am already. I don't plan it to be. I am, and I just have to go my way through. So I say, okay, how can I justify in front of society or to be a singer? And then I said, okay, I have to make a education, just that I get a formal letter. So, okay, she's officially a singer. So I knew I have to do this. And so then I met my teacher, and I was in the opera school, and I just followed my way to do what was my genuine interest, to be a singer. And then it came out that I have a show company. It just happened. I never planned it. And maybe if I knew before what it would take to be a singer, a stage artist, and to be an entrepreneur, because not everybody has this combination of qualities. Like when I think of Loy, he is totally not a business person. If he is a great artist, but if he would be alone, then I think he could not run a company alone. But I'm somehow I'm a businesswoman also by it's in my nature, because I was never shy to to lead things on and to take responsibility. And you have to be willing to take responsibility, and you have to be willing to take risk. And you don't know what happens. You have to always give, like, you put the 100% risk. And then you have somehow I never had the security of like many artists and my like singers. They have husband who earn money as employees, and they have it safe, but I always had the 100% risk. And I never did something that I didn't want to do. Like I have very strict taste and rules what I do, and a very strong moral behind. Like our shows are always not about just entertaining, but it's a certain, I hope that's the right word in English, attitude. Like you have a conviction and a attitude, like not political, but somehow like morally, like what you this you have inside, and you don't talk about it, but it's through everything you do. It's inside of this, and it then if you have this, then it gives you the strength from inside. That even if you sometimes maybe fail with for example, you do a show and maybe it's not so interesting for enough people, but then you still did the show, and you have it, and you worked on it, and you it's good for something else, because you already grew on another level with every show you do, and this must be the thing what you're interested about. So, for example, at the moment, I go to jazz sessions because I want to improve my skills for improvising on stage and for not being a character, but go really into the singing, into the music, doing the connection with musicians I don't know. And I go and I jump into a new field of experimenting because I really want to do it. I don't earn money with it at the moment, and it's like at first sight nothing that gives anything for my career, but I make connection. And if you have this drive you want to make connection with the people you work with, this you have to love. I love to work with other people. I love to build a team and to feel that magic when you work with somebody. The chemistry and the spiritual connection. You have somebody that you really love to work with. And at the moment I have really some people and in my team that we inspire each other so much. You have to love this. And then, then the work that needs to be done, just do it. Yeah. Just do every day the work that needs to be done, do the steps that have to, and I would say don't be lazy, but I never had to force myself to, I'm lazy, I should do that. If you notice, you lazy about something, then you maybe should ask, maybe I'm not lazy. Maybe there's something still not clear why I should do it. Is it really clear that I have to do this? Then maybe you have to step a bit back and look. And then maybe sometimes you notice, okay, I put this on the side and I go this way because it's sometimes you are so busy with your plans that you make, and you have still to be open to change your plans when
be
you
adaptable.
feel, to stay alert inside, to stay flexible, because where I'm now in life, I never planned it. I never planned it. I just planned, or I just said, okay, I have to do this.
Yeah, exactly.
And
it came from your heart.
It came from my heart and from I
Your
knew
vision.
I knew it's my way. Yeah.
That's it. So it's very interesting what you say, because we talked about the mindset, the confidence, okay, the willing to do what it takes, the action.
Yeah.
You need to be in action. You have to also do uncomfortable move.
Yes.
You have to accept to be uncomfortable. You have to accept that when you fail, you will fail.
Yeah.
But it's a learning process. It's something that you learn.
Yeah.
You get up and you continue.
And you have to love learning.
Yes.
Yeah,
You have to be humble enough
Yeah.
to just take it as a lesson and
Yeah.
not feel like your life is over and then you're not good enough. No, it's about, taking
Yeah.
courage and say, I can do it. And this is a lesson that I have to learn, and I continue because my fire inside is driving me.
Yeah.
And that's it.
And now that you talk about this, I also think it's so important that you love also your body, and that you worship
Yes.
your body and your soul, and that you
Yes.
nurture it all the time. Because I think when we talk about failure and and about hard times, I remember I had some very hard times when we moved to Berlin, and then I got sick. I had a burnout also, and I was forcing always myself, like I have to do it, and you only can cancel if you're dead. Only the own death is an excuse for canceling. And I had a rupture in my larynx because
Yes,
I was
I remember.
forced. People forced me to go on stage, although I felt like I can't, and I wanted to protect myself, my body, my voice, and I listened to other people because I took pressure from outside.
Yeah.
And so I only listened to myself, because your body and your intuition knows exactly. And always
Exactly.
when I made mistakes and when it came to burnout situation, that was because I didn't listen to my body, and I didn't listen to my inner voice, and I really hurt myself. I damaged myself, and I thought I'm obliged to do it
Yeah.
because it's the duty of a stage artist to be always on, and it's
Yeah.
not.
Yeah.
So if you want to really be an artist for whole of your life and not get broken in the middle of your career, you better take responsibility first for yourself and
Yes.
not excuse if you. It's like hard because as a singer you always like you have the judgment of people like she's a singer, then she must be a diva, and then you come and you don't want to be a diva, you want to be nice to
And
everybody
you play extra
and
nice.
you
Yeah.
want to be extra nice to prove you're not
Yeah.
a diva.
Yeah.
And I know like personally I'm not a diva in that sense that I am not shy. I clean the floor before the stage, like that my circus artists don't have to do their routine in the dirt. So I'm cleaning the floor. I have no problem with this. So I do what it takes.
Yeah.
But I know, okay, when I have a bad monitor sound, the sound engineer has to do it as long as I'm happy with it, because
Exactly.
that's my work material, and I need my circumstances that I can work and protect my material, because I have only that one body, that one
Exactly.
voice, and that one me.
Yeah.
So it's very important that we protect ourselves.
That's so,
Yeah.
so important because so many artists get burnout. I was
Yeah.
in a burnout for a year. I couldn't
Yeah.
walk. I couldn't talk. I was so weak.
Yes.
And that was the end of my career. Also, it was a choice.
Yeah.
But anyway, I
Yeah.
didn't need to be that sick, to stop.
Yeah.
And
You
it's
had
so
to learn it
important
the
what you
hard
say.
way. And-
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
But it's like the more you love yourself, the more you have self-confidence and you respect your limit,
Yeah.
that you have high standard
Exactly.
for yourself,
Yeah.
then you're not going to be sick.
Yes.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Because you will stop before to go too far. You will not accept the pressure from outside. You will lead from the inside out
Yes.
to what you know, your intuition and your strength, instead of what people are telling you to do.
And you get really better and better, and because before, I must say, I was always, I think, a good singer, but I always was measuring my qualities on a scale, like good, bad, very good, and now it's like it's what is the magic about really artistic work? It's where the measuring stops and goes beyond. It's like where the magic starts. It's
Yeah.
actually it's where you are completely yourself. You're completely authentic, and
Yeah.
and you don't do it to impress people, to be good and better and better, but just to be into it. And
Yeah.
then when you're into it, then it's all perfect
Yes,
by itself. You don't
exactly.
have to control it, because when the magic starts, where it's beyond control, you completely let go. And then
Absolutely.
yeah, so for me, actually, there was also the last really turning point was the Corona time, when we had this long lockdowns, when as stage artists we were kind of not existing. Like we had to justify our existence, like we are not we are nothing. We are nothing, because who knows? And I was even thinking, okay, our son, he was going to be a musician at that time already. Can I recommend it to him to be a musician? Because maybe we will not have live music at all in our future.
Yeah.
So there was really a time when I was thinking, okay, the live music, live performance will never happen again. I was like not sure. And so this was when I had the real check of but then I started also to I was writing blogs. I was doing podcasts. We were doing live streamings of our shows, and it was a hard time. But then I really realized how precious. So it was from coming like not existing to realizing how precious the arts are for society, for the culture,
Absolutely.
for being human, because art and culture is where being human starts, and where it also goes from human to divine. It's the
Yeah.
arts. The arts are the like the connection point from where you go from just being human to the connection with the divine. So,
Yeah.
and this is like you go to your source and you go to heaven at the same time. It's like really I realize this now that I speak to you, like how precious and how really amazing that is. Yeah.
Wow. What a beautiful way to close this podcast. It's amazing.
Yeah, thank
It's so
you.
beautiful. Thank you so much, Evi, to share your heart, your love
Yeah.
for what you do, your talent,
Thank you,
and your beautiful
Sofranie.
spirit.
Yeah.
Yes. So I love you.
I love you, Sofranie. So you can guess we're really friends.
Thank you for tuning in. Hey there, creative mind. I want to extend my heartfelt thanks for being here today and taking the time to listen to my podcast. It truly means the world to me. My promise to you is to serve you by providing the tools and information you need to change your mindset and achieve your goals. All while keeping it engaging and entertaining. I invite you to share your suggestion for future episodes, as your input helps me create content that truly resonates with you. And remember, if you're interested in receiving 1 hour of free coaching, click here to schedule a time that works best for you. Okay? I'm genuinely excited to connect with you and to see how I can serve you and support you in your journey for accomplishing your goal. So have an amazing day, and I can't wait to see you in the next episode. Thank you.